TraderMerlin show for your Thursday edition. Just so you guys know, I may not be doing Friday's show. I've been pretty sick as a dog lately, and given the fact that I keep coughing and everything, I may not make it for tomorrow's show, but we'll do our best. I'll let you guys know probably on Twitter. I'm going to try to do it, but I'm being told, stay in bed, stay in bed. Screw that. I'm going to do a show. All right. Hope you had a great trading session out there. There were some nice moves in a lot of different asset classes, specifically looking at things like the Nasdaq and those all-time highs that keep coming through. I saw the comment here says, let's see. What did we have? Big Eb's comment. Hope no one was holding Peloton long, down 25%. Yeah, it's... I love it. There's a guy I follow, Jeff Mackey, who used to work for Yahoo Finance. I loved his commentary. He was just I thought he was a pretty good analyst, and he has just been beating the drum of Peloton forever and ever. And I'm like, could you not have seen this coming, right? I understand a Peloton when we all want to stay at home, we're locked down, we're in confines of our own home, can't go outside, gyms are closed. Like, perfect, right? Let's just get a Peloton. But now things are opening up. Gyms are open, so I don't see Peloton sales soaring anymore. I mean, this was kind of a predictable move. I'm just saying. Anyway, I don't own long Peloton. I actually was on my short list, but I missed that boat. So let's get on to today's topic. I'll try to keep this one right around 30, 40 minutes, somewhere in there. Of course, I'm feeling a little bit better, Kevin, but, this thing just keeps surging. It comes back, and again, it kicks me in the teeth every now and again. But I'm feeling decent now. Just a little bit of a cough and a fever, but no big deal. All right, let's look at our topic. This actually stemmed from a question that came in from viewers. So again, for anybody who is new to the program, hit the subscribe button. If you have comments or questions, you can always email them at TraderMerlin@gmail.com. That's the easiest way to get in touch with me. Now, we will go here and go to the topic, which is Nasdaq. When will it stop? I feel like I should be having Will Ferrell on here going, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills here, right? It just keeps on going and going and going. Anyway, this question came in from Debbie. She says, when is the Nasdaq going to stop going up? It cannot keep going up. Well, the answer is, yeah, it can. It can, and it is, Debbie. This is the thing that's ruined many traders, and I've been guilty of it many times over the past, where you put a belief system in that this cannot be happening, and you make a counter trade. So, for example, there's this mindset right now that, it can't keep going up. I got to start shorting it. Well, look, not only is it going up, it's actually picking up momentum. Look at the chart of the Nasdaq. I mean, today is action of 1.2%, 1.23%. We've had a monumental run. Now, I do agree that at some point, this thing is going to come ripping back down and give back a lot of these gains. But, when you look at the price chart from the rally that started on October 13th to where we are right now, we're up about 12% in 16 trading sessions. I mean, that's ridiculous. It's almost 1% a day. I mean, it's insane. Call it 0.8% per day. Those are just not normal moves. It usually doesn't happen, but it is happening, and that's something that you cannot refute. So, trying to pick the top in this is going to be very dangerous, which is why I told you yesterday I am setting aside some capital for a short trade, but I'm not shorting right now. I just don't think it. I think that's kind of crazy to be trying to pick the dead top. What was that one? There's an old line. This is those who try to pick tops and bottoms end up with stinky fingers. Well, this is the same situation. You could get burned on this one bad if you decide to, buy some puts or go short right now on the Nasdaq. For whatever reason, we could throw a million different conjecture, hypothesis points at it, but it's still going up and just keeps on going. Yeah, just like Lisa says, crazy, but waiting for the correction to come on the ES as well. Yeah, ES looks very similar. Right, here's your S&P 500, and I'll go do the same thing. I'll measure that move from October 13th, and I'm measuring from the open to where we are today. And you have 8% move in the S&P, almost 12% for the Nasdaq. Hey, Alex, good to see you, my friend. And Matt, Terry, we got Big Eb, we got everybody. Tibor, good to see everybody. Sorry if I didn't give a shout out this morning. I'm a little bit out of my wits a little bit with this thing. All right, so. Debbie, the question that you asked is, when is it going to stop going up? It'll stop going up when it stops going up for whatever reason. Now, given the news that happened yesterday with Jerome Powell and the Fed doing quantitative easing starting in about a week and a half to 2 weeks, my assumption will be that probably after the first part of the year is where we'll really see things start to slow down. I've learned that you never short anything going into the holiday season, and granted, right now we're in the first week of November, so you got this last 2 months of the year. I think shorting's kind of an overly aggressive idea to get to do right now. and I'm certainly not going to be shorting the month of December. So my short powder keg is going to be dry for a while, probably until January. Now we may get to the end or near the end of December, and I might start looking at buying some maybe March puts just as a protection hedge. Because what I've noticed is you usually get that nice surge into holiday, and then all of a sudden January rolls around and things start to come crashing back down. So we'll see what it looks like back from a short perspective in December. But I'm not touching it right now. I mean, this chart just looks so unbelievably good. That's the S&P, but that Nasdaq there. Don't let a parabolic move convince you that you have to go short. It's up for a reason, and it can simply just keep going and going and going and going and going, and until it proves that wrong, then you stay long. So at this point, I'm just waiting for it to make a high, turn around, and then start to challenge that high. And if it doesn't break the most recent high, then I will look for potential short opportunities, but not until then. Lisa, you could be selling puts if you wanted to, but you're not going to get a lot of premium right now, right? The premium is going to be rather low because no one's buying puts. No one's buying protection right now. If anything, people are gobbling up calls like crazy, buying everything that they can. So I don't think selling puts right now would really get you much premium. If all of a sudden we saw like a sharp decline, yeah, your premium would be a bit higher for those put options, and then potentially that. I closed short put today for a nice gain. Cool. There you go. What were you shorting today? What were you shorting today, Brandon? We're at 1.3% on the Nasdaq. I hope you're in short Bitcoin or crude oil. Crude oil, by the way, guys, here, we'll just run through those. Crude oil on the day, down 1.8%. We mentioned yesterday that my expectation was it was going to have a continue-on retracement, and we did have a pretty decent one. I thought we were going to get right down to the 78 mark. We hit a low today on crude oil of 78.25, and I actually thought we'd come down to 78. So not too bad as a retest of this level. So we'll see if it retests here and potentially starts to move to the upside. Excuse me, and move back to the upside. But you had pretty high volume on it today, which is showing that kind of panic sell on that crude oil chart. Bitcoin also taking a little bit of a dive, but nothing really overly worrisome. I mean, the entire crypto space is doing great. You can see that the overall market cap here, where did I have it? Almost $2.7 trillion market cap and near all-time high. So we'll see if that continues on. But right now, a little bit of a pullback to be expected in the cryptocurrency space. You can see a lot of stuff down 4, 5, 6%. And here's the ultimate shitcoin, Shiba Inu, which will probably find its way back down to about 0.000028 would be my target for that one. IWM breakout trade. Yeah, we talked about that on yesterday's show. We look at the Russell 2000 broke out of that range, so we removed the yellow box, and it did. It ripped. It had 2-3 days of up, and then now you have your little bit of hesitation. So it really begs the question of how do we trade it from here? I'm not convinced that this is a solid breakout, although market will dictate. So one way I would trade this is you put a line above today's high, you put a line above or at today's low, and you just wait for the breakout on the IWM. So if it drops down below that, all right, you've got yourself a potential short opportunity. If it breaks the high, you got a long opportunity. Keep it as simple as possible. There you go. Bitcoin based around 6. Yes, I think Bitcoin is looking pretty darn good. You say Bitcoin's 54,000, huh? I don't. Right now, notice that even though it's not making these higher highs, it's still making higher lows. So it's traversing up. It looks good. And I'll probably look better at the spot price, which is not the futures price. There's my Bitcoin. Right. It still looks pretty decent to me. Again, if we get below 56, then, there'll be some more downside movement. But right now, everything's looking pretty decent. Brendan says 500,000 Bitcoin is inevitable. Given time, yes, I agree. I think it is inevitable. 500,000 Bitcoin in potentially even much higher. So I'm gonna probably do a video and seeing how my health feels next week or so, kind of revisiting that video that I did, which was why Bitcoin will be 100,000 by the end of 2022, right? So the end of next year was my target to have Bitcoin 100,000. I think we'll achieve it much sooner. I actually think that the numbers could be significantly higher. A stat I read today from Glassnode, which is one of the biggest data sources for cryptocurrency, says that 78% of all Bitcoin in circulation are illiquid, meaning that they're held in cold storage. They're not part of the overall supply, which means you're left with 22% of the current supply of 18.8 million are being chased by the entire world. that tells you that prices could go significantly higher here when the amount of Bitcoin available to purchase is so limited, which is part of the reason I think Brendan is right with 500,000. The question is when, given supply, demand, adoption, corporate adoption, I could see 500,000 probably by 2024. Give it a couple years. All right, let's see. What else do I got here? Look at Square. Ooh, old SQ, huh? So I have been sitting here waiting for SQ because they were supposed to report earnings, but I didn't get any. Let me see if I think they just reported. So bear with me as I pull up my earnings calendar. They didn't have it reported earlier. All right, so let's see. Square still hasn't reported their earnings, although it looks like the number is negative. It just hasn't updated on mine. They're expecting 38 cents per share, but right now you can see that chart in the after-hour session trading down at $237. I like Square. I love what Square is doing. I like how they're kind of pioneering and pushing the crypto space. The thing I don't like is that price chart. I loved it back here. This is gorgeous. This is, oh yes, this is technical analysis porn right here, right? You look at this, it's like, oh my goodness, this looks so good. But now you look at what's happening now. It's chopping. It really, all of a sudden, that clear sense of direction is gone. And while I still like Square, does it warrant buying it when it seems to be just kind of chopping sideways? I don't know. I feel like I would want to wait for a better move, a more distinct trend. But boy, it was gorgeous. Now all of a sudden chopping sideways, and I believe that the earnings are going to be bad, or at least the forecast is negative because of the current price action, trading at $237, down about $10 per share. 30 minutes. It's too bad I don't have a live feed for that one, Catherine. We could watch that one live. What did Alex say? The more I watch, the more I realize I am out of my league. I am still only ready to buy and hold long term. You're not out of your league, buddy. You are absolutely not out of your league. It's about information and understanding, and you're learning more and more about this each day. That's the whole point about investments, is to continually be learning. Find the right people, find the right groups. I think you got a pretty good group in here, not just with me at the helm, but you got a lot of people in here that have some pretty good ideas about the market. So, you'll always be a learning buddy. Don't give up, and just keep on thinking about questions to ask me, and I'm always happy to help you out as you help me out. Yellow box time on Square. This is for you, Walter. I was thinking the same thing. It's just the box gets a little big, right? It's a pretty big rectangle if we put that one on Square, right? Do I go all the way out to here? That's a bit too big. I mean, that's a 100-point range. That's gigantic. But you know what? Just for fun, I'll leave it there. Brendan says I'm pretty much only hold. Me too. And I think Big Eb and Brendan and I and a couple others. I think Tom, you had some too. That's where the real gains have been made. I mean, Brendan, Brendan actually introduced me to Polkadot. When was that, Brendan? You remember when you talked to me about Polkadot? Was it at $7? I think it was at $7. Of which I bought a whole bunch, and I bought more, and I bought more, and I bought more. Now I've got like 1,800 Polkadot, and all of a sudden, the thing's up. It's up almost 100% in the last 2 months. Love it. These are the types of long-term investments. But again, I'm not thinking about, it's going to make 100%. I'm thinking, hey, I'm looking at the next 3 to 5 years, right? And it's tough, but I put that money in those accounts, and I just let those grow and grow and grow. Hello, Cookie Cutter. Cool name. I like Cookie Cutter. All right, let's see. Mike gave me an update on the earnings. Reported Q quarters earnings, 37 cents per share. Consensus was 34. So they beat. But the whisper was 51. So they missed the whisper number, right? And that's a tough one when you talk about the expected number, the whisper number, which is, going around to the different analysts and trying to get their opinions. Which is why, again, I never touch earnings. If Brendan bought it at 3, I hope you bought a bunch of it at 3, buddy. Jeez Louise. Are you staking it as well? Because I'm taking all the Polkadot, and I'm actually staking it from my ledger and getting 14.6% interest on that per year, which I absolutely love. That's one of my favorite things about Polkadot. Anyway, let's see. So let me keep going down here. So we talked about the Nasdaq turn, and guys, look, I think we all understand that the Nasdaq's going to go up until it doesn't. And I know it sounds so academic and kind of stupid, but that's just the nature of the beast. And looking at a chart like this, you cannot will this thing to go down. I mean, I hope the market crashes 50%. I hope it goes more. Give me 70, 80% decline in market value. But it's not happening. So, for the now, you just got to stay long, buy some pullbacks here until, until this market proves you wrong. So, long and strong. Okay, cool. So you are staking from the ledger. That's where I'm doing it. You can stake from the ledger. You can stake Polkadot from the ledger. It is complicated. Make sure that you do it right because you have to nominate validators, and it's tricky. You make sure that you always select a validator that does not have 100% commission. I watched a great video of this guy. He's selecting these validators, right, who are the people who are processing the transactions, and you just nominate them. And the guy goes, oh, I'm selecting all these. And he clicked on like 8 of them that had 100% commission, which means you get nothing even if they, get nominated to be a validator. So anyway, a lot of tricks. We do all that stuff in the CIL. All right, let's see. Let me keep going here and go to my next question because I'll be good. I have 5 that came in, and I'm going to try to wrap it up early just because I feel like crap. So Cliff says, still bullish on the pound. Let's get David Warner back on. Bullish on the pound. So I'm not bullish on the pound. You've got a couple things that have happened. All of a sudden, we've started to make some lower lows. We did that back in July, and then we made a lower high. And all of a sudden, this sequence is in now of lower highs and lower lows. So to me, I feel like I'm feeling short on the pound, right? You got this slow trending down moving average. You got lower highs and lower lows. Today's move, you saw this really sharp decline. The numbers that came out, so there's a couple different things they look at. There's a thing called the MPC official bank rate votes, which is there's 9 voting members, right? And those 9 voting members, there's 3 digits. So it would be, last month was 009. 0, the first 0 is raise, second 0 was lower, and then the third one is stay the same. So all 9 members in the previous meeting said, keep everything the same. And the expectation was that today when they did it, it was going to be 009 again, meaning all 9 voting members said, let's keep it right where it's at. The big change that happened today was 2 members voted to raise rates. Now, right now, if you look at the UK, they're at 0.1%. So it's not like they're very high, but the US is talking about maybe next year raising rates a couple times. We've already talked about tapering our spending on mortgage-backed securities and treasuries. So the stimulus for these markets might be starting to dry up a little bit. And the UK having 2 voting members out of 9 say, hey, let's raise rates, and the other 7 saying, let's keep it the same. That's a sign that the UK will probably, in the next meeting or 2, they'll start to raise rates from 10 basis points maybe to 25 or maybe even higher than that. So kind of interesting to see how that's all shaping up. That's part of the reason that you saw this jolt here in the British pound, and it's probably more amplified when you look at it on a smaller time frame. Boom. You want to know when the announcement was? That's it right there. Nice shooting star. If you follow the rules there with shooting stars, this was a monster trade for you. Love it. Oh, thank you. Well, it's even worse than feeling like crap, but we'll keep it at that. So, to go back to the question here from Cliff, I'm not bullish on the pound. I think the pound is started its downtrend, and as they say, the trend is your friend to the bend at the end, and right now it looks like we're just going to be drifting lower in the pound. So we can get David Warner back on. I know that David Warner was super bullish on the British pound. I think that may change. We'll see. I'll see if I can get him on here in the next couple weeks. So anyway, what else do I have? All right, this is a cool one, and I know we have a good group here which might be able to help Jay out. Jay says, how can one get exposure to crypto without buying crypto? Well, there's a lot of different ways you can do that, and it depends on what type of exposure you're looking for. So for example, you could be buying into ETFs that represent blockchain companies. BLOK is a good example. So let me just bring up that one. There's a whole bunch, but BLOK is one of the more popular. And this is basically just companies that are in that cryptocurrency space, meaning they have something to do with digital assets or blockchain, right? Most of them are blockchain related. So I believe in this one you got IBM and Microsoft and some of the big names like that. Well, right now, is it the time to buy? Yeah, man, it almost looks like a time to short. Coming right back into overhead supply here on this one, but that's a different analysis, right? Your question was, how do you get exposure? That's one way. Another way would be to get into looking at something like the miners. So you have MARA, Marathon Global. This is or Marathon Digital. This is a big player in this space. You have things like Riot, right? So you have some different mining companies out there. This one's not doing so well, Riot Blockchain, but there's different mining companies out there. You have ETFs, so you don't have to physically buy Bitcoin, but you could buy these Bitcoin ETFs here, like BITO, which is the original Bitcoin ETF in the U.S. markets. You also have BTF, which is a competitor of it. This is the Valkyrie Bitcoin ETF. Again, these are going to run you about 1%, 1% fee on those ones. You also have, as Big Ed points out here, GBTC. All right, so you got the grayscale funds, and there's quite a few different grayscale funds out there. There's Bitcoin, there's Ethereum, and several other cryptos. But there is a problem with it, and it's really a tracking error because GBTC is a trust that has certain vesting periods and time delays with regards to withdrawals, and it's closed end. If you look at the Bitcoin ETFs, those are a futures base, and they have tracking differences. So nothing's going to be a perfect proxy for Bitcoin or specific cryptocurrencies, but these are good entries. You saw Medic Man Down just posted Coinbase. That is probably, it's growing on me significantly as to why I think that I used to not like Coinbase very much, right? I just wasn't a fan. However, I forget the number. It was something like $500 million they're buying of digital assets. So all of a sudden, what you end up getting is almost this, it's almost like they're their own little ETF or mutual fund, right? So you're buying the Coinbase exchange, which, okay, great, that's total exposure to crypto. But with their profits, they're buying up digital assets. So they could be buying Bitcoin and Litecoin and Ethereum and actually holding physical assets. So to me, Coinbase is definitely growing from an acceptance perspective. I used to look, no, not touching Coinbase, but now I really like the fact that they're reinvesting in the community to help the entire ecosystem grow, which is what it needs to do. So that's another one. What else? The big one here is MicroStrategy. So MicroStrategy is the biggest holder probably of Bitcoin in the world, I'm going to say, at least from a public company perspective. The chart doesn't look very good, but they're doing something very interesting. They are basically issuing corporate debt and paying 6% on their debt. But they're buying, with that corporate debt, Bitcoin. And, I watched an interview with Michael Saylor, and he goes, this is a no-brainer. He goes, if you look year-over-year growth, Bitcoin's growing at about 157% per year, but I'm going to issue loans at 6%. So I'm making 151% profit on just basically free money. So he's doing what banks are doing with your deposits, right? You deposit money in a bank, they loan that money out to somebody else. The bank pays you very little, and they charge the person who they're loaning that money to a lot more than what they're paying you. So if I get 0.1% interest for depositing my $10,000 in the bank, they're lending it out to, Brendan over here, and, Brendan's going to pay 7%. The bank makes 6.9% interest for free, essentially. And that's essentially what MicroStrategy is doing. And as crazy as Michael Saylor is, it makes sense because he's buying a scarce item and loading up his balance sheets. I think now it's like $6 billion he's got on his books of Bitcoin. Now, that's a pure Bitcoin play, right? That's a pure Bitcoin play, not a buying a diversified basket of holdings. Now, Grayscale also has a diversified basket. Chris talks about ETHE, right? That's your Grayscale or CoinShares physical Ethereum. This is a trust though. So this is let me make sure. I want to make sure I'm right on this one because if that's delayed. So which exchange is this on, this physical one? I'm trying to find out what exchange it's on. I'm not sure. I don't know the CoinShares. I thought you were talking the Grayscale because Grayscale has one, and the Grayscale Ethereum ETF, and they also have a diversified basket holding one. All right, let's see what else we got. Scott McCormick. Who wants Scott McCormick? Merrill needs some R&R and herbal medicine. I just need some sleep. No bourbon. I'm not drinking. Not drinking at all. Yep, I'm going to go right back to bed here after a minute. BTCS. Yeah, you got BTCS. Let me real quickly link up. I'm thinking of a couple different ticker symbols here that might fit into that space. I'm drawing blanks. So what you get, my mind is all foggy. So for those that are wondering, when you look at BTCS, they're a blockchain technology company. I'm going to make sure that one's right. Yeah, good. Let's see, what else we got? We got ETHE, expensive. Yeah, it's expensive, but, I think we make a mistake sometimes when we look at the price of something. For example, is Amazon expensive? right? So we look at the price of Amazon and say, oh goodness, it's $3,477. Well, does that really mean that it's expensive? Our brains instinctively say yes, because it's a $3,477 price target. The challenge for me is it's not the price that matters. It's the number of shares combined with price, which gives you, of course, your market capitalization. So if I told you there's like 1,000 shares of Amazon altogether, you'd look at $3,400 and go, that's cheap. There's only 1,000 shares of it out there? Holy cow. Right? And I actually built a spreadsheet once, and maybe I can find it and dig it up for you guys. It was pretty cool. I took all the top companies, like the top 15 companies, and I took their share price and made a big list, and then I took the shares outstanding and I adjusted them so that they all had the exact same market capitalization based off their shares and what their price would be. And it was interesting to see how those prices all adjust, and you go, oh wow, that would be a fair price based off this, because for example, Microsoft has billions of shares where Amazon has, I think, a couple hundred million. Anyway, Irish whiskey. My Irish grandmother gave my mother a shot of whiskey if she was feeling a wee bit sick and had 16 years of perfect attendance. My mom used to give me white rum with some tea before I went to bed, but I don't want to mess with my immune system at this point, and alcohol messes with my immune system. So, all right. So Jay, that's all I have for you. You've got the blockchain ETFs that are pretty good. There's probably a dozen of those. You've got the Bitcoin ETFs. You have the specific companies like Mara, Riot Blockchain. You have MicroStrategy. Coinbase is growing on me as far as being a good potential proxy for the whole crypto space, and that would be it for me, other than the obvious, which is the futures market. But there you go. Hopefully that helps. All right, last one. So obviously today I didn't make any trades. David said, can you walk us through your trades you made today? I really want to learn your process. I didn't make any trades today. Obviously I am holed up in bed not doing anything, but I did have one that was on my radar for today. I'll share that with you guys. I was looking at General Dynamics, and only reason was, if you look at the price chart, I like it, right? It's got a nice uptrend, higher highs, higher lows. It's a buy the pullback kind of thing. Well, you look at the candle that formed yesterday. It's this long bottoming tail into kind of a choppy area of demand, but it had a hammer formation. So, the plan was, if I get a close today, if at any point it runs above the high of today's candle, the high of yesterday's candle, which was 201.25, go long. And today we hit a high of 201.18, so we almost got there. So darn close to making it, but that's one that was on my radar. We'll see how I feel tomorrow morning, but I'll give you a couple others that I'm looking at. These are short opportunities or things I'm feeling just bearish on. So Electronic Arts, you guys can see it has been just completely choppy, but it has a huge shooting star today. I like this one. So again, if we get a break below these lows here, that could make for an interesting short-term day trade. Another one is M-Chip. M-Chip coming in a beautiful double top formation. Now, this is very aggressive if you're thinking of going this one. And the reason is, you look at how quick this thing has moved up. Right? It's gone from 71 bucks to 83 in a period of about 6 days. That's pretty aggressive. Of course, that's off earnings, and I'll keep an eye on this in the morning, because a lot of times what you'll do is you get a jump up off a good earnings announcement, and then all of a sudden it comes crashing back down. But nice double top on that one right now. What else do I have? PVH. Another shooting star. You guys, obviously this one's great because it's a shooting star right into this overhead supply. So I'm a fan of shooting stars, as you guys know, so I run those filters. And I only had one real bullish one, which was Dish. And the reason for it is, you look at what happened out there. Earnings announcement, clobbered it, but where did it fall to? Right, where did Dish fall to? It fell right into that. You look at that, it's actually drawn wrong. I could draw a little bit better. Let me fix that. Come on. Yeah, close enough. And I'll keep an eye on that one tomorrow. That could be a potential bounce up as well. Right now it's sitting down at the lower end of that range, so it may break down below, and then just leave it alone. But if any one of these come into a situation where I like buying it and it triggers my trade based off of breaking those lines or the supply and demand zones, then I'll potentially make the trade. But I don't have to, right? Any one of those four I just mentioned are just potential things. That's pretty much it. All right, what time we got? 30. Oh, yeah. All right, let me see what we got. That was, oh gosh, this is a good one. I love this. How many of you follow David Portnoy? This Barstool Sports maniac who's just like so full of himself and egotistical. I mean, this guy is just off the charts, full of himself. But David Portnoy, anybody follow that guy? He has been pounding the table on Penn Gaming, talking about how much he's buying of Penn Gaming, blah, 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 and it just goes and goes and goes and goes. So I got this question from Howard, and I love it. Thoughts on Penn Gaming? I own shares. Ugh, Howard, you're probably not going to like me at the end of this little segment here. I agree, Big Eb. He is a total clown. Here is Penn Gaming. And when, I forgot exactly when, but I believe Penn Gaming bought like $550 million worth of Barstool Sports, right? Tried to part of his company. Yeah, Portnoy is an idiot. He's just a clown, you know? I mean, there's a lot of them out there, and good for him. He draws attention to himself, and he's making himself rich off being an idiot. But hey, let's see. So back in here, he was pumping it. You can see back in April, May, June, July, he was just always pumping it and talking about how great it is, and he just needs to buy Penn. Well, it's because Penn, he had shares of Penn, because in the deal, he got shares of Penn. So it's his vested interest. It's a mutual pump and dump. Well, Penn reported earnings today. Not only did they get hammered on their earnings because they weren't doing well, period, all of a sudden they also, Portnoy came out and got some sexual harassment, misconduct charges against him today from multiple people, and all of a sudden that drops Penn even more. So, Howard, thoughts on Penn Gaming? I tell you what, man, I really don't like it. You know, you could look down here at this low point, which you might actually hit this tomorrow. You know, you have this low way down here, which is another few dollars lower. What I don't like about it is this was already a test. Because you can see you have this basing back in August. It rallies up, retested it, and then started that huge move. Great supply and demand. Now, I don't know if I have that much confidence in this level right around 53, 54 bucks, right? That normally I would if it hadn't been touched before. But yeah, I'm not feeling very confident on Penn Gaming here for you, Howard. I don't know what you want to do with that one. Yeah, he got hit with a scandal today. He is... Hey, you know what, Brendan? It's funny. We say he's got the bad touch, right? Well, he's got hundreds of millions of dollars, too. So, you know, I guess it's a trade-off. I mean... I don't know if I had $500 million, would I be cool with everybody thinking I'm a total clown and an idiot? Probably not. I have more respect in myself than that. All right, let's see. I saw one more in here, and then I'll have to wrap it up. I saw someone ask me about a specific one. Yep, zinc for sure. I have been taking zinc and Advil and all kinds of stuff. All right. Well, I guess that's it for me then. Oh, I got all kinds of recipes and recommendations coming in here. I'll take care of myself, guys. I'll get to sleep. Okay, that'll do it. Let me go to your economic calendar for tomorrow just so you know what's coming up, because there are a couple things. You have Canopy Growth coming out tomorrow. You have Berkshire Hathaway as well. Now, Berkshire Hathaway, it says tentative here. It's just slated on the calendar. Who knows if it'll actually come out. All of these are going to be before market open. You have Enbridge and Dominion Energy as well. And then, there you go. Your economic calendar for tomorrow. Now, the important stuff for me anyway, because I'm U.S. based, is going to be that unemployment rate. This is something that Powell mentioned specifically multiple times, not only in his press conference, but the actual Q&A session afterwards. 4.7 is the expectation for unemployment. If we keep drifting lower, that just raises the bar for the Fed to lift off with regards to rates. You have average hourly earnings. That expected to drop for the U.S. as well. And then non-farm employment change. Look at that number. It's expected to go from 194,000 to 455,000. Basically, what they're saying is the expectation is massive amounts of new jobs. Massive amounts of new jobs just pouring in. So we'll see what those numbers end up being. For our Canadian friends to the north, we've got a 6.8% unemployment expectation, and you can see there's other IV PMI data as well as employment change numbers coming out, and some retail sales for Europe. All right, buddies, that's going to do it for me. Again, if you guys have comments, questions, feedback, topics for show for tomorrow, I'm like a 50-50 that I'll do a show tomorrow, but I've been feeling just dog run down, so we might not do. I'll let you guys know on Twitter tomorrow, probably about about 10 or 11 if I'm going to be up to it, but I'll try my best to make it. If you have a topic you want me to cover, do it at TraderMerlin@gmail.com. That said, hope you guys have a fantastic trading day out there tomorrow, and hopefully I will see you on Friday. Take care, everybody.